Join me for a little ride today in vlog style. I'm going to go look at the leaves, and there's plenty here. We are at a lower elevation here, about 1,000 feet, and we're going to climb to about 3,500-ish today. Just driving, looking and seeing what we've got. We're going to go up Spruce Pine Mountain and either come back down NC 80 to Marion, or we're going to go just keep going on the Parkway if we're able to Asheville and come back down that way. But we'll see. It all depends on how I feel and how things pan out. Today has not, the last couple days, I've just not been feeling that great. And I think it's a lack of sleep, because I'm really trying to fix my sleep schedule and it's just not working the way I expected it to. So last night I ended up falling asleep at like 12 in the afternoon, and I slept through to like 9 p.m. and I was like, well, dang, now I've really screwed it up. So I got up at 9 and I ate, and I just kind of, talked to some of my friends for a little while. And I think it was around 1 or 2, I laid back down and I was awake again at 5. So I'm going to try to push through the day. I've got several things that I need to do, and we'll just see where it goes. But right along with me, let's go look at some leaves and check out the fall. Looks like we're going to hit some fog up the mountain, but hopefully that will clear out. We aren't at the highest elevation yet, but already looking pretty good. Everybody says the peak of the leaf season is like the second week in November, but I don't know. I'm feeling like this is pretty peak right here. This is the second week in October. Don't know when I'm going to actually release this, but we'll keep climbing here a little bit and see what we can see at the top. Still some green trees up here, but for the most part, lots of yellow and orange. This is the campground here. This area is where my grandma was originally from. My grandpa too, but they moved down to where I live now. And lots of memories over here, lots of things. We've came more times than you can count over here for just various reasons. They had land, and they had a garden on the land that we would constantly go to. But there's a little store down here on the left, and that's why I got the camera on. We used to stop and play the quarter machine, quarter coin pusher. Those are now illegal in North Carolina, so you can't find them anywhere. But when I was little, that wasn't a thing, and we would play. We would never lose. I mean, we would never win. We would lose all the time. But quarter pusher right down here. I don't know. I assume this is still a general store. This big red roof building here. I assume it's still a general store, but I haven't been in there in 20 years, maybe more. And then up here is a swinging bridge, and it's all grown in, so you won't really be able to see it, but it's a very, very steep curve. It will sneak up on you if you're not careful. Great views, though. Awesome views. We are not at the highest elevation we're going to be at, but I'd say we've gone about maybe 1,500 feet from where we are. Higher elevation, where we were, not where we are. But right down here, I think is the curve for the swinging bridge. Here's your golf course. This is one of those roads where it's just straight passing lane, and you're really tempted to just gun it. And there are always, well, I've always been told there are always cops here. So I try not to do that. Try and do or two different things. This is a steep curve, but this is not the one that I was talking about. But we should be coming up on it here pretty soon. It always catches me by surprise, that's for sure. I never think that it's coming, and then it's there. I believe it's right down here. So there's a road that goes off to the left here, just before the curve. And it's a gravel road, and used to you would drive right here down it, and it would take you into the river. You drive across the river. There's a bridge right through here where that cutout is. It's a swinging bridge, and you walk across it. Now this curve is deceiving, because when you get into it, you start turning even harder. But yeah, that's that. I really hope this comes out on the camera, because looking at it through the phone, it just doesn't look the same. It doesn't look as bright and vibrant as it does in real life. But hopefully once it hits YouTube and YouTube does their brightening thing to it, it'll look a little better. My great aunt used to live right down here. Actually, both of them, my grandma's sisters. The first one lived in this first house down here at the bottom, and the other one lived in the house up on the hill there. And they had a pool in the back. We used to go there all the time and swim. And, as they got older, they filled the pool in and said they didn't want to have to maintain it anymore. And I think they eventually moved. I mean, they don't live there no more, obviously, but I don't know exactly why they moved. I don't know if they just got tired of the house. It was one of those, it was like an older house, and they didn't have like a hot water heater or anything like that. So if you wanted to have hot water, you had to build a fire in a boiler, and that heated your water to run through the house. The water, they didn't have a well. It came from a spring up in the woods there, so all spring water. So, just the way it was, I guess. But my other great aunt, I think she rented that. I'm not real sure. She lives somewhere over here, this direction that we're going now. I don't really know where she lives. I've tried to reach out to them after my grandma passed away, and I've had no luck. So would like to visit them one day, but my grandma's sister that I used to visit all the time, I got a hold of her daughter, and her daughter was not interested. So I don't know if she's just afraid of COVID or what the problem was, but she's given me excuses every single time I've mentioned coming to visit. So, but yeah, lots of memories, swimming there, visiting. Every time I would go, she'd have to make me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's just what she did. And her husband died of cancer probably 15 years ago now. But he had an old Dodge truck. Well, it was new at the time, but it was two-wheel drive, and they lived on that big hill. So he spun up the yard every time he pulled in, and it just never made sense to me why you would buy a two-wheel drive, especially here. I mean, this is, you get hammered with snow over here. But yeah, that's that. It's probably not the best place to make a video. It's a bit of an odd rule. I don't think anybody cares about that, though. Didn't know about that, but I noticed that I had a lot of flowers disappear here, and I was like, dang, what happened? Guess they don't like them. I'm gonna try to get one that goes over the top, though, that way I know what they're just wanting to mow, but if I can get one over the top here. We found out she had cancer in 2017, and the doctor told her that if she didn't take any kind of treatment, she would live 6 months. But if she took chemotherapy, she would live 2 years. And if she was a candidate for immunotherapy, potentially longer. But he didn't know. He actually said that with immunotherapy, he had a patient who was in remission. So the possibilities were endless. But we found that she was not a candidate for immunotherapy. She did the chemo, and about 2.5 years after she started it, she decided she didn't want to do it anymore. I don't know why or what changed her mind. I mean, yeah, she was sick a lot, but it was better than the alternative. So, about 6 months in of stopping is when she left. So, here she is. This is a family cemetery. This here is my grandpa's sister's husband, and a spot for her eventually. She's deaf, which is cool, I guess. Not for her. Don't mean that in a bad way. But it was just neat to try to communicate with her. Growing up, you know, she would come visit. I knew Alvin a little bit, not very much. He was not deaf, so he could see. Well, you know, everybody can see. Whatever. It's hard to to try to video here. Down here is my grandpa's brother and his wife. He had, I believe it was a form of lung cancer. And I vaguely remember coming here for his funeral. We didn't come for hers. I guess my grandparents were just not doing well. I mean, this was a year before my grandma died, so. But we would visit Joyce. She lived over, we had land, and she lived next to it, so it was all, I guess it was all just family land. My grandpa ended up selling that land, so we don't own it anymore. But yeah, couldn't come over here without making a stop. I don't know if I'll be able to use any of that footage, but on a complete positive note, today is my mom's birthday, and I texted her this morning asking her what was she going to do today, and I think I got my answer by no reply because she is sleeping. I was going to see if she wanted to come on this ride today, but I guess we'll just try to do something this afternoon. So let's head up Mount Mitchell, and I'll tell you some stories about that. If you thought you were getting full self-driving beta before today, don't count that, because all these curves are going to give me aggressive turning for sure. Golf course. If you can even see it. Too many leaves. So yeah, maybe we're not at peak yet, but still not bad. This is the last tunnel before you get to the tower that we're going to. And this is like the wildlife crossing tunnel, because they usually always cross the top of the tunnel instead of trying to cross the road here. It's pretty cool. We are coming up. This is my favorite tree, but there's a ton of people here. I always take a picture in front of this tree, but you know, I'm not trying to get up in a bunch of people's business today. So the tower up here is called the Mount Mitchell Overlook Tower, something like that. I'm not going to actually walk to the tower today, but we're going to drive as far as we can drive to it. I brought some friends up here last year, somewhere right around this time. We couldn't get to the top because up here the temperatures are drastically different. Now actually it's only 62 right here. We've not finished climbing. But we couldn't get to it because they said there was ice on the road. So hopefully I can get to the furthest point you can drive today at least. But the tower, my grandpa helped build the tower, the original tower. I have no clue when it was actually built, but at the highest peak of Mount Mitchell, there is a tower that you can climb to look out. And it was just a big spiral staircase, kind of like a lighthouse almost, but it was square instead of round. It was pretty neat. And I don't know, probably 10, 15 years ago, they decided that it was getting old and needed to be replaced, and so they tore it down and put up a concrete tower. It's not even a tower now, it's just you walk out on it. But the hike is straight up, and you are at about 3,600 elevation, and I don't like to get winded at high elevation. That's just not, altitude sickness is a thing, and I'm not trying to do all that. So I am hearing wind. So I think the wind is blowing up here or something. I don't hear any more. That's cool. Anyway, that's about the tower. So we'll see if we can drive up to the furthest point there, and I may try to video the whole drive once we get on the road that takes you there. Lots of greenery still here, so not quite the peak, but it's coming. Winter is coming. I was kind of thinking, talked to you guys about the Toro idea and wanting to get a car on Toro, and I was kind of thinking, I might have missed my mark. The peak season may already be over. I don't think so. Actually, now that I've come up here, I don't think so at all. There's a lot surrounding getting the car and, doing a Toro, because, I don't know, I had cash to go for that car. I ordered a car hauling trailer so that I could easily move cars from point A to point B. And the trailer is 2 months early. It's here. And so now it's either buy the trailer or buy a car. And, what gets a trailer without a car? So, I don't know. I haven't figured that one out yet. We'll have to figure it out. One thing about this car is I usually get in it and I never worry about range. I never think about it, because this car can go for farther than I can possibly want to go on a daily basis. And we are down to 50% here, 51 now, which I didn't really expect it, but at the same time, there's still plenty. I mean, there's over half the battery left, so still plenty of range for what I want to do. And I've got about an hour and a half of driving left to get off of the Parkway, but that's just because I'm going slow and I'm looking, and I'm also behind traffic, but that's not important. This is a Sunday drive on a Thursday for sure. It may have been a year or two since I've been up here, but this road is horrible. Actually, last year we were up here in the winter. It's been all summer. They could have fixed this. There's just a lot of potholes and areas where the road has buckled, and as I say that, we drive through here and haven't seen a single problem. But yeah, I've hit a few potholes. Not happy about that one. Here is the entrance to Mount Mitchell. When I brought Devin and Avery, this right here is as far as we could go because the gate was closed. this truck is going is a restaurant up here. I'm not sure if it's open right now, but it's a pretty nice little place. I mean, the food's not great, but you sit in the balcony and look over the mountains. It's pretty cool. Since my last check-in, we have dropped 10 degrees the temperature. It's dropped another 2 degrees since I said that. This is the lower parking area. There's also like a picnic area off to the left here. And this is the top. We are at the highest elevation that we will go to today. Let's just stop for a moment and check our numbers. So, we made it with 44%. And I want to look at, since last charge, we've gone about 69 miles, 31 kilowatt hour used, 454 watt hour average. Now my current trip, I stopped 12 miles ago and I'm averaging 727. We've been climbing nonstop since then. So if I can remember, we'll check this when we get down to Asheville and just see how that has changed. So the hike is just a little ways up this trail here to your right. I'm not going to do it today, but takes you up to the Outlook, and that's it. We'll start back down. To give you an idea of efficiency, we are 33 miles from Asheville, and we will arrive at 44% battery. We are currently at 44% battery. So according to this, we should be able to go 33 miles without losing a percent. Let's see if we can do it. You know, I remember when I first got my first cell phone, and we would constantly come up here riding and doing whatever. That's just what we always did. And I brought it with me to see just what kind of service I could get. And right in here, dead zone, nothing up here at all. I occasionally down on the Parkway, if I would hold the phone upside down, I could get a signal. But that's about it. 1 bar and unusable. And now as I drive through here in the state park at Mount Mitchell, I have 2 to 3 bars of LTE. And at the top I had 1 bar, but it was usable. I actually was able to send some text messages. So that's crazy. I've got a picture message sending right now. We'll see if it actually goes through. I wish I could see that lake down there, but I'm trying something different. I'm letting autopilot do it, and I mean, it's not doing a horrible job. It wants to go really slow. Of course, the speed limit just went up to 45, so will it go? Yeah, it went back to 40, so that's good. But yeah, while I'm letting it drive here, I'll really wanted to get a picture of that lake down there, but you just can't see it. I would not have guessed those numbers. 161 current trip, 293 total. We gained 1% to come down here.